Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of Saint Katharine Drexel. Saint Katharine is also known as the patron saint of racial justice and philanthropy. She was born on November 26, 1858 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, into one of the wealthiest families in the United States. Her father, Francis Drexel, was a successful banker, and her stepmother, Emma Bouvier Drexel, was deeply religious and charitable. From an early age, Katharine was taught that wealth is a gift meant to be shared, and their home was often open to the poor several days a week. Their family often traveled throughout America, and during one of those journeys, something deeply stirred her heart. As they traveled to the western part of the United States, her heart was awakened to the plight of indigenous and African American people. She witnessed firsthand the harsh treatments of the native Indians and how the African Americans were enslaved and forced to work. These experiences stirred her heart, and a seed of compassion began to grow into a lifelong mission that would later impact the church. After the death of her parents, Katharine and her two sisters inherited a vast fortune. Even though she had a huge amount of money to spend, she saw her wealth as a responsibility to help other people. In 1887, she had an audience with Pope Leo XIII, hoping to persuade him to send missionaries to help Native Americans. To her surprise, the Pope responded, "Why don't you become a missionary yourself?" That moment changed everything in her life. Feeling a divine calling, St. Katharine shocked society by deciding to become a nun. It was a rare decision from a woman of her class and elite status, and she was very firm in her decision. In 1889, she entered the Sisters of Mercy, and in 1891, she founded the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament. It was a religious order that was dedicated to serving Native and African Americans. It was a radical act not just for a wealthy woman but for anyone at the time, because racism was deeply rooted in society. Over the next 60 years, St. Katharine poured out her wealth and her heart in building schools, churches, and mission sites. In total, she spent about $20 million of her fortune on her cause. One of her most notable achievements was founding Xavier University of Louisiana in 1925. It was the first Catholic university in the United States for African Americans. She also taught technical and farming skills for men, while household skills like embroidery and cooking were offered for women of color. She believed that education was a powerful tool for justice and transformation. St. Katharine dedicated her life to social works, prayer, and spiritual support for her order. She died peacefully on March 3, 1955, at the age of 96. Today, the institutions she founded continued to thrive, and there were also numerous churches across the United States that are named in her honor. Her body is currently resting at the mother house of her congregation in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. In October 2000, Pope John Paul II canonized her as a saint, and she was then honored as the patron saint of racial justice and philanthropy. Her feast day is celebrated every 3rd of March. If you like stories like this, support us, follow, like, and subscribe.